Hello, everybody. Just like every night. Hope everybody's doing well. These crickets out here are very loud. I tried to adjust my audio a little bit, my noise gate on my board to cut out those crickets, but every time I talk you can hear the crickets. I tried shutting the window and everything, and I didn't want to turn the sensitivity down too far because then I would have to be right up in the mic, for the entire video. So yeah, the crickets are super loud. I got the noise gate set up so they don't break through when I'm not talking, but when I am talking you can hear them. So no, I guess the topic of tonight's video, it's similar to some of the previous ones that I got into radio communications. But tonight I found out that the club that I used to be involved in back in the old days, 15, 16, 17, 20 years ago, I'm still a member of that club. I still host their website, and I still help out with web design and stuff like that. And then the place I'm at now here in Kentucky, I'm friends with the main guy in the club. Really cool guy here in Kentucky, Don Muncie. His ham call sign is AC4DM, Alpha Charlie 4 Delta Mike. Really cool guy. And even back in my government days, I was able to interface with him, his wife, who's also a ham radio operator and a part of the club, a big part of the club, and a couple other hams in the club. We were able to interface the local club with the FEMA group that I used to work for. So that was sort of cool. I'm still trying to figure out this mic. Down here it's more trebly. Treble. And if I turn it, I can't really turn it on the stand there, but if I talk into the top, it's very big bottom bass. So, still figuring it out. Sorry for the unnecessary stuff here. But like I said, the local club here, I knew the main guy involved, and he's a really cool guy, and I still get onto the local ham radio repeater, and I talk to him every now and then, check in, sort of, maybe on one of they have nets, if you're sort of in the ham. I'm not going to explain every point, but they have these nets, on certain nights where people check in to the repeater, which is a base station for non-ham people. And so I try to do that, as often as I remember to, but, I often don't remember. But I was messing around with my radios today. Another friend of mine that I've had on here before, Waza, he bought a radio tonight. He was wanting to look into getting into some communications, GMRS or ham radio. So he bought a radio today, a Baofeng. I think without him even telling me, he bought the same one that I have, the Baofeng. I think this is a UV82. I think the one he bought was it's rebranded a little bit. The little badge here at the top's a little bit different from another little company that customized it here in the United States, but it's the same exact radio. It's a good one. It's a really good radio. I mean, for what it is, for the price. I think he paid $35 for it. I mean, compared to like Kenwoods and Yaesus and ICOMs, that even the cheapest ones start over $100, and then the best ones are $400, $500, $600, $700 for a handheld radio. And then for the mobiles, you can get them like again on the cheap side at like $200 or $300 up to like over $1,000, and then base stations, 800 to 15,000. I mean, some of the ham radio base stations are just insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, I have an ICOM 706 Mark II-G, which is a mobile. Now, some people use it for like a portable base station as well, but that was back when I bought it back in 2002, 2003. It was maybe 850. That's a lot back then. I mean, with inflation and everything now, I mean, that's probably like $1,500 now. Man, I should sell that. I don't really use it very much. I should, but it has some problems, some technical problems. The radio works fine, but I don't think it's transmitting properly. So I think I need to take it in to the shop and see if it needs some repair. So I'm getting into the weeds and into different things. But like I said, the club that I used to be involved with, we used to have like tons of activities, and we did like the ham radio field days, which is like every June. And then there were many other competitions throughout the year. The other big one I remember being involved in was the radio teletype, the RTTY, RTTY competition. And we used to go down to one of the club members' houses in not Fauquier County. Was it Fauquier? I got so many states in my head. I lived in Ohio, Virginia, Kentucky. I think it was Fauquier County, down around Quantico. I actually had to pass through Quantico, I think, to get to his house, or either from his house to get back to 95 and then head back up to Woodbridge, so I didn't have to take all the back roads. So many a nights being down there, I drove through Quantico, where the FBI training ground and everything is. So that was, again, good times. So we did these radio teletype, and radio teletype, if you go back to the old days, it was like, it was very primitive and stuff. But in the time we were doing it, it was, it's all done on computer. It's all computer based, and there's like a, software installed, and all the radios are linked up onto PCs, and you have macro keys like that repeat. So the whole point of competitions are to make as many contacts as you can in as many different areas, as many different countries and cities and everything all over the world. So that's the whole point. So you hit like the macro, and it keeps repeating your call sign, like, CQ. Well, basically what it is like CQ, which is calling any station. CQ, 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 DX, which is distant stations. DX is distance. And then it was like, I think we used his station's call sign, so it was KA4RRU, CQ. So CQ, 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 DX, KA4RRU, CQ, DX, or whatever. And then you just kept calling that. And then when somebody came back, you would pause that macro, you would shut it off, and then, type. Or I think we even had a couple other macro keys to like complete the contact or whatever. And so did the people on the other side. Everybody was sort of on the same page. So, yeah, it was like, it was good. I mean, I've always been a night owl. I mean, even now it's like just after midnight. So I've always sort of been a night owl person. Even back in those days when I worked a 9 to 5 and these competitions happened on the weekend. It was just fun, it was fun to get out and, we were literally in this guy's basement, but it was a very nice basement. He had all these computer workstations. Again, I never know where I'm going on these vlogs, so I never have the pictures or whatever prepared. But there was just a couple multiple workstations through the basement. And we had just everything we needed down there. And I think the events were 24, 48 hours. I think this already one was 48 hours. And I did, let me actually pull up my browser here. If I search for my call sign, N8CIA RTTY KA4RRU, that's my friends. Yeah, there we go. KA4RRU RIDI contest station. So these are our contest scores. I mean, they come all the way up to 2020. I don't know. I guess the page was updated in July of 2022. I guess they maybe didn't add the score or they didn't contest at his particular location that year because it was a couple years where they were going to be at other people's homes. But if you go back on these, let's see. Yeah, here we go. So back to 2002, all these people, and then there's me, N8CIA. 2003, N8CIA. And I remember all these other people too. I think K5OP, I forget his first name. K4RU, that was Mike. K4BUS, Alex. I forget TBT. N4DXS, that's familiar, but I forget the first name. W4DAV, that's Dave. DAV. W4MGM. Gosh, I remember that call sign. I just can't remember the first name. I think WA4TK, that was Dean. WB4ZNH, Carl. WN4FY, FVU, I can't remember that one either. But not all of us were there at the same time, and some of these people I didn't, make as close of a bond with. I knew Carl, I knew Dean, Dave, Alex, Mike. And then I was there the next year too. Actually, my ex-wife was there with me. She's N8CSI, so we're, she was like a police officer. And then, I worked for at the time for the government. So the call signs, we picked those. They're vanity ham call signs. So we picked those out, but sort of funny. CSI, CIA. Yeah, a lot of the same people. And then, so I did 2003. Let's see, 2000. I think I came to the 2000. Well, no, I was in the process of getting ready to move around that time, so I missed that year. But I did show back up. Let's see, I missed 2004, and then they had another one. There was two in 2004, so I missed that one too, but then I showed back up for 2005. That was the last one that I went to with that club. But no, because I guess I'm here too, so I showed back up for... Okay, not for that one, but for this one. That's after I moved to Kentucky, and then I forget... I don't think I was working at that time. I was self-employed. I don't think I was actively working at that time. So for a company, a 9 to 5. So that particular summer, I had the time free, and I think my ex-wife, I forget. I think she went back up and visited people and or something, and then I went up and went to the KA4RRU station. Yeah, I specifically remember that because even people who aren't licensed are allowed to operate, under the main license. So the KA4RU, Mike's daughters were there, Liana and Tessa. They were little kids at the time. They're adults now. They're probably like married and out of the house. It was so long ago. Yeah, good times. And then I've never made it back up, unfortunately. I'm still in touch with a number of those hams. I actually just rebuilt the website for Woodbridge Wireless. I just modernized it a little bit, put more of a modern theme on it. It was sort of outdated and stuff before, but you got woodbridgewireless.org. So I just, Woodbridge Wireless Amateur Radio. It's just a basic, sort of theme or whatever. And then I basically kept the same information that they had on there before. But they go out and they do these mountaintop events, and people in RVs and pop-up campers and stuff. They go out to, it's in the western part of Virginia. It's just, the whole club's amazing. I had for the few years that I was there, I had the most amazing time, because we even did communications for crew races, rowing, because even back then, you had those little walkie-talkies, the little Motorola ones, but they didn't get very far. They weren't very good, and even if they could make it back and forth from the beginning of the race to the end of it, and then in between and stuff, the person operating, if it was a volunteer, just like a off the street volunteer, they wouldn't know how to properly communicate to be able to pass the start times and the end times, and read off all the stuff that needed to be relayed along the course in an efficient manner. So our club, on weekends, during the summer or fall, whenever the crew races were, we went out. Usually it was 2 or 3 of us, and it would be one of us out on the course, one of us out in a boat, and then somebody back at the base station. We relayed the start and end times and whatever other traffic needed to be communicated throughout the race. And this was up on the Occoquan Reservoir. If you go to Woodbridge, Virginia, you got Lake Ridge Road. If you look just north of Lake Ridge Road, there's the Occoquan Reservoir, and probably if you pulled up a Google map, well, I should try it. If you pull up a Google map of let's just go to Woodbridge, and I can zoom in on it. Woodbridge, Virginia. So there you go. And then I used to live, where did I used to live here? Dale City. Okay, so I guess up a little bit. Well, hold on. Let me switch to satellite, because that'll be easier for me to see the rivers and stuff. Okay, you sort of get out into the rural areas, and then you have the Occoquan Reservoir. There we go. Let me close that down so we have some more viewing space here. But okay, that's where we used to meet. So I had to drive down Prince William Parkway, heading toward Clifton, and then cut over, and then cut back south to get to that sandy run. So it was it was actually quite a long drive, even though I just literally lived just across the reservoir, from that. So we used to meet there, and then they would again, like I said, there would be somebody at the base. There would be somebody in a boat halfway, just in case it was an emergency or whatever, and then somebody down further here around the I guess grandstand. I guess there's concessions there now, fast food restaurant. Oh, how times have changed. So, but it was down that trail. I used to walk that trail, or sometimes if I was lucky enough, somebody would just take me on a boat, down, and I'd jump off. But it was just so much fun. And usually the boats, they would actually start further down. We didn't have somebody down that far, but there was, I'm getting into like the weeds again, but usually they would start somewhere down here, and then I don't know if it was a ham or somebody else, but the times were known or whatever, and then the end times, and then we would call them back, and then we actually did the Occoquan. It was actually a national level there one year. It might have been 2002 or 3. It was like a big time event, and not only were we doing communications between different parts of the reservoir, but we also were using amateur radio television. We were actually broadcasting TV up and down the river. So people back at the Sandy Run Boathouse up here, we had our ham radio bus set up, and we had like transmitters, big powerful antennas and stuff set up, and transmitting that stuff back and forth. The communications, the TV. It was super awesome. I don't know if that's on Woodbridge's site or not, if it's still up there. Woodbridge. Let's see, pictures. The expedition, field day, Joda, mountaintop, rabbit hunt, technical. Yeah, it was so long ago, I don't even know if it's still on there anymore. Mountaintop. I guess not. Rabbit hunt. Yeah, okay, there's some crew race pictures. Crew race support. So that basically explains exactly what I was just talking about. There's not a whole lot on there. I probably should add some of my old pictures to it, but we've been sort of supporting the crew races on the Occoquan River since Dean, WB4EIY, and Joe, W480M, who's now passed, were out on the water in the 70s. And it says, in fact, after he passed away, they dedicated the finish line judges stand to him with a plaque above the entranceway. So I guess our club sort of had a close connection with it. I totally forgot about that. The club expands over 280 man hours each year to support this public service. We keep the water safe and for the rowers by providing real-time reports of conditions and mishaps, and provide vital regatta information and support to the judges and race officials. We do much more than communications. Yes, it is time-intensive for our club, but it has been a very important public service which is recognized by the community. The judges and the regatta officials repeatedly say they couldn't do it without the Woodbridge Wireless. So yeah, it was, again, and I did a lot of those. I still have so many T-shirts from all those different, events, staff T-shirts or whatever was available. It was just, yeah, good times. I'll have to dig up those pictures. I still have them somewhere, deep down in an archive somewhere. Every time I get onto one of these vlogs, it just like opens up like a chapter. I mean, I literally spent like sometimes 6 to 8 hours out there, like on a weekend. I mean, for many weekends, for many years. It just, but it was just like a little chapter in there. I guess I'm just, starting to realize now that I'm doing these vlogs, I'm reminiscing back through different points in my life and everything. I'm just realizing how many just weird little interesting, cool even me looking back on it, it's like I haven't thought about this stuff in forever, but it's just really cool to go back and sort of relive it in my head here and tell you all about it. Yeah. So we did that. We also did like communications for like parades and after 9/11, which I think I talked about that a little bit in the 9/11 video, providing some communication support. But, ham radio is just a really good thing. And then I guess the whole point of this video was to sort of say, I've left Virginia. I'm still a member of Woodbridge Wireless, because like I said, I help out with their website and so on. But tonight I ran across a YouTube channel for my local club, LCARA, Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association. I ran across a YouTube, and I'm on YouTube all the time, as people who watch this know. I'm on there all the time, but I ran across their page. I never knew it existed. I mean, I'm not going to blame them for lack of trying, because the channel, I think it actually has like hundreds of videos, so I guess it was my own, I guess they probably could have put it out a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. Because I've been on the repeater. I haven't been okay, I take that back. I don't blame the club at all, because I have not been to a meeting of the club in probably well over a decade, since I moved here. I knew about the website, and if I would have paid more attention to the website when they posted the links to their Facebook and their YouTube, I would have saw it. I should have saw it. And I should have went, but tonight I did, and I guess in my own mind, because of the Woodbridge Wireless, here, let me move over to the LCARA page. No, that's Ohio. Hold on, LCARA.net. Is that right? Oh, they need to update their SSL certificate. Maybe I need to talk to somebody. The page is a bit 1990-ish. I don't know if anybody in the club will ever see this video, but yeah, I need to get involved and rebuild this site, because just going from not the Ohio one, but my old Woodbridge Wireless, which if you go back to the home page, it's very much, it's not super duper, but it's much more modern. It has the little hamburger menu and so on. If you extend the browser out, the menu expands out too. But for the podcast, it goes to the little hamburger menu. Three little dots there. But, it's still a more modern site. Maps and pictures and everything. So I guess I need to get involved. LCARA.net. I guess it didn't come up. But like I was saying, so fourth Monday, that's this coming Monday, so I'm going to try to make it to that meeting, and I'll probably go ahead and pay the membership and join up again and try to become more active. And then because I'm doing these vlogs now, even though they have the YouTube channel, it's more of just a video thing. I mean, they do some blogs or vlog style, podcast style videos. But with my equipment and everything, maybe we could, if they're willing to have me and to allow me to be a part of it, I could bring my equipment that I have now, these mics and headphones and stuff, and actually have a higher quality podcast. But like I said, they have 4,000 some subscribers, and I just became one tonight, sadly, for the first time. So 4,000 subscribers. I think 390,000 some videos. Some of their videos have over 1,000, but I don't think there's any above that. But they really get deep into it. And unlike the radio. Well, I played the video of the Not a Rubicon guy out in California, where he's a GMRS guy, and he sort of hates. It's a love relationship with the ham people, but this club, and I didn't know this again until tonight. My LCARA club. Not only do they have like a super duper like repeater system, which is our main mode of communications, as ham radio operators, they have this like super duper repeater system, which I knew. I mean, with one, again, without getting too technical or whatever, they have like a 2 meter and a 440 repeater, really big, up on like a huge tower out in Kentucky, out in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, but it like covers like Somerset and like Columbia and all the areas, all the counties around Lake Cumberland. And then they have remote repeater sites that like you can transmit into, and then they have Echo Link, which is like an iPhone app that you can, bring up, and say you're a new ham and you don't have a radio yet, you can get onto the Echo Link and still talk on the repeater over the radio. You're literally connecting to the repeater over the internet and then talking to people who are out on their like handheld, like the ones I, showed you earlier, or a mobile radio or a base station or whatever. So that's sort of cool. So they have that. And then tonight, just looking through these videos and, talking about the Not a Rubicon guy, which is more of a GMRS guy. Our club actually, the LCARA club actually has a GMRS repeater as well. So they're sort of covering all the different bases of radio to pull in as many people as possible. So I respect that. And like I said, I need to get more involved with the local club. I'll probably go to the meeting this coming Monday, and I know, I know the main guy, AC4DM Don. I've known him for probably about 15 years, I guess, 15, 16 years. Yeah, 16, 17, whatever. Yeah, I'm aging myself. Probably even before that, because I have been a ham since the 2000s, even when I visited Kentucky before I got onto the repeaters when I was traveling through. So, but like I said earlier, I got into my mind that this Woodbridge Wireless Club that I was involved with so long ago, I had in my mind that they were the best, like the penultimate, biggest group that I would ever find. They did just really cool stuff. But in their own right, at the same time, going to the YouTube or the YouTube page of the LCARA group here, they're the same. It's the same people. They're out there in the field testing antennas, doing all the same repeater stuff. I don't know if they do like an active field day. I'll just need to go through the channel or competitions. I'm sure people probably individually do it. I don't know if they do it as a group, but if not, that's something that maybe I should bring to the club. How, getting together groups of people for the different competitions. So that could be my contribution, as well as the video vlogging capability with my Rodecaster here and microphones and headsets and stuff. So yeah, so there's a lot of videos to catch up on. So, and these people all just live here. I probably ran into some of them at some point, or caught some of them on the repeater when I've checked in and so on. So, yep. So if anybody's interested in the hobby, just Google for like amateur radio clubs or GMRS groups in your area. GMRS is a little bit easier. You still have to have a license to like talk on it, but you just have to pay a fee, fill out an application and pay a fee. If you want to get a little more involved, then you can study for the ham radio test, get your ham license, and join a group like LCARA or Woodbridge Wireless or any of the many other groups across the country and around the world, wherever you're at. They're everywhere. Hams are everywhere. Even the Not a Rubicon guy admitted that, if the S hits the TF, if the shit hits the fan, then hams are going to be the ones that are still communicating. More so than probably GMRS even, because the ham radio guys, most of them are sort of hardcore, like communication, survival, common sense type people. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm about 36 minutes in, I guess now. Wow. Yeah. So I didn't even expect to come on tonight, but I thought I would. I've just been watching these videos and it sort of inspired me to talk about it. So I'm a bit tired. I got up earlier. I have a temporary job I'm starting next week, so I've been trying to get up about 7 or 8 in the morning, and it's after midnight now the next day, and I'm still up. So I haven't been drinking as much, as I have on previous nights, but yeah, I just thought I'd jump in and go from there. So everybody have a good night and peace out.